All right, buddy. Welcome to another edition of Blend Blazers podcast with your host, Ricardo D. Rice. And we are back in the studio on another, I guess today's lovely. We'll say another lovely day because the other day was 40 degrees and now we're back to 70. So lovely day for sure. And today we have a very special guest who I think we talked last year, 2021, I believe. And the timing just was right. And I was like, you know what? It's time for her to tell her story. So I'm really excited to have her here. Introducing to some and presenting to others, Chef Mo. How are we doing today?
I am great. Thank you for having me.
I was kind of worried. I didn't know she was still going by Chef Mo. So when she got here, I was like, so are we going by Chef Mo or are we going with your real name? She's like, no, you're good. I was like, good. And you didn't bring me any food, but it's okay. You know, I'll let it slide. You didn't bring me any food, but it's okay.
I got you.
Y'all heard it here, folks. She said she got me. I expect to get some kind of delivery at the house soon, very soon.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's get into it. So tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Well, my name is Monica Hilton, and as you stated, I am affectionately known by Chef Mo. However, I've kind of moved around a little bit and trying to retire from being a chef, not necessarily because that was my plan, but obviously that is God's plan instead. In 2016, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease called Scleroderma, and Scleroderma means the tightening or hardening of the skin. And what it's caused for me is it's tightened the skin on probably about 70-80% of my body. Which causes, if those out there can't imagine that, it's just that I have no elasticity, like on my hands, on my arms, on my chest, some areas of my legs and my ankles, you can't even pinch, like any skin.
So we talking about the stuff that people be complaining
That's
about,
right.
like the cellulite and stuff. You don't have any of it.
That's exactly right. I have an overproduction of collagen. So those that are getting the Botox and adding the injections in their face and stuff like that, I don't have to do that.
I was thinking, I was like, so wait, does that mean she has like the tight, what we call the tight face and stuff like that?
I'm telling you, I could barely smile. It's difficult to put on my contacts because, generally when you put the contacts on, you kind of pull your eyelid, your eyes down a little bit. Well, it's very, very hard to do that.
Wow.
Yeah, so my skin is really tight. It's caused a lot of tightening in my face and my jaws. Did you know you can have arthritis in your jaws? It's a joint.
I don't know if I would call it arthritis, but I know you have like lockjaw, stuff like that. But
yeah, you can have arthritis in your jaw.
what does that even feel like? Like, what is that?
It feel like somebody punches you in the face. I woke up one morning and was like, why does my face hurt? And so my husband, who has mad jokes sometimes. He was like, you saw that Facebook post where the lady slapped the husband and then laid down and went to sleep. Like, he jumped up like nothing was. I'm like wondering what was going on. He said, that's what I did to you. I was like, oh no, I know better than that. But my face was like hurting, like, just moving my jaw. So I called my doctor on that. She said, well, it is a joint, so you can have stiffness in those joints as well.
I can't even imagine how you eat when that happens. Like,
right.
All right, so when did this? So let's start earlier. So you're a chef. Tell me about that. Like, how did you? Because you were kind of like a celebrity type chef, or in that space. So like, what were you cooking? Like cakes? Were we cooking soul food? What kind of chef we talking about?
I was doing it all. I started out just baking cakes at home in my kitchen, and I would make these little mini loaves and take it to smaller restaurants because in my mind I'm thinking, maybe they'll give me a chance, faster than the larger restaurants. And I started going to this place I'm from Columbia, South Carolina.
Big shout out to the SC because I'm from South Carolina too. So
That's
big shout
right.
out to the SC. We makes it happen.
I started going to this place called Pierre's Turkey Wings, and it was if you're familiar with the Benedict and Allen area, there was a turkey wing spot over there. And I would take my cakes over there, and every time I went to the front counter, one guy would be like, hey, Willie, the cake lady here, because he would never say Monica or he didn't say Monica. He just didn't get it right. So he was like, the cake lady here. And I'm like, when it was time for me to start thinking of a name, because I didn't have a name and I was the lady that had cake.
I mean, that's kind of what we do in the African American community.
That's
Whatever you
right.
service, that's kind of what you're. Oh, they go to drink man, or he sells soda,
That's
soda guy.
exactly right.
It's kind of what we do.
So that's what I went with when it was time for the business license and the LLC.
The cake lady?
I stayed with the cake lady for about 12 to 15 years. In South Carolina, I was now known as the cake lady. So then when I moved here, I changed to Eat Mo Cakes because it was a gazillion the cake ladies and everybody confused you with,
I was about to
one
say I
or
didn't
the
know how long
other.
that was gonna last. I was like, we do that in African, so everybody's a cake lady that makes
That's
cakes.
right.
Even the church lady is a cake
That's
lady. So I was
right.
like, I want to see how this is gonna play out.
That's right. But I began to sell my product to small restaurants, and I began to go to like media events and meet a lot of uh, PR, radio, TV, media, anything, anybody that wanted to sample for free, they was getting that cake because the barter became, well, talk about me on your show, or bring me on your show, let me cook for you on your show, and it started, into a snowball effect like that. And before you knew it, many radio personalities, when there was a concert coming to town or a certain interview or something coming to town, they would call me and ask me to service whatever celebrity they were having that was coming in. I had I have a list of people that I have cooked for, like Wendy Williams.
Oh, good Lord. How did that go?
Man, she loved soul food, right? But she didn't really like to go out in the public at that, around that time. And this is when Charlemagne was working for Wendy Williams.
People
And
forget that. I think people really forget that.
I'll
I was
never
like,
forget because I was praising him, patting him on the back from just being a radio personality to Wendy Williams. Even now, when I talk to him, I'm like, dude, I'm so proud of you for real. So, but Charlemagne was a radio personality in Columbia, and any chance he could, any chance he got to give me like some free time on a live remote or something like that, he could have been going in between one spot to another. He'd be like, yo, Kate lady, I got the van. What's up? Are you at your store? And so he would, give me those opportunities to be able to get in front of people. And so he called me once and he was like, Wendy Williams in town. I want to surprise her with a soul food lunch or whatever. Can you hook that up? And I did. It was fried chicken, collard greens, macaroni and cheese, and some pound cake. He was like, she don't really like dessert like that, but I just threw that in there anyway.
it kind of goes to the meal. You got
That's
to either
right.
have
You
cornbread or
needed
pound
that.
cake.
You
It goes to
needed
the meal.
that. I've done a lot of like picnic style catering for Charlemagne in as well. Him and his wife. I knew him when that was his girlfriend.
Okay, all right.
That's right.
Okay, this is for me for kicks and giggles. Any particular feeding stands out that you just remember because something happened that day or just it's a celebrity. Just this is for kicks and giggles. I'm just very
Any
curious.
particular feed.
Any particular one?
Bruce loves banana pudding and pound cake.
Oh my God, Bruce was like one of my favorite comedians. He is hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
He loves pound cake and and so on his bit when he always say yes. When he tasted the pound cake, that's exactly what he said. I was like, gosh, I hate that phones wasn't, the way they were at that time, because I would have had that on record.
That would have been hilarious. That absolutely been hilarious.
But I began to become known for, call Mo. Anybody, it was the buzz. Anybody who need catering or cakes or anything, call Mo. And so I wanted to bring that by 2013, I had a huge reputation in South Carolina for being that girl or the cake lady. So I thought I wanted to move here and rebuild and brand, because Atlanta is so large.
In theory.
In theory.
In theory.
Honey, when I got here, people was like, who? You who? Like, and that just felt, like I'm starting all the way from the bottom, like Drake knew. Because nobody knew who I was, and I didn't have many contacts here because we just decided, let's go to Atlanta, I shut my bakery down in 2012 in order to, get my coins right and determine what area we wanted to move to. Um, and we decided on Lithonia because my middle son, was the football player. Well, both of them play football, but my ninth grader was growing, up and coming, and he chose to go to Stevenson High School because of Coach Gartrell and his reputation with a lot of collegiate football players and also pro football players.
Makes
So
sense.
that's what we decided. We moved to Lithonia, but it was hard. Ooh, it was hard just trying to get my foot in the door.
Especially Lithonia, because Lithonia is more of a black-centric area. So
That's
soul
right.
food, because I just moved to Stone Mountain, which isn't that far from Lithonia, and I moved from Cobb. So in Cobb, it was more a white area, so you didn't see a lot of soul food. So it probably been a delicacy
Right.
in Cobb. But when you move to the South area,
Right.
where it's like I see soul food on every other corner,
That's right.
wings on every
Everywhere.
other corner, and people think it's. I'm like, no, I understand when people say when you know where you live by what you see.
That's right.
Because when I lived in Cobb, there was Publix, there was Whole Foods, like all those things. And then you move to this side of town, it's like there's 50 soul food places. There's not even a Publix remotely close. I'm
That's
just
right.
like, and Food Depot. I'm like, what is a Food Depot?
Right.
Yeah.
That's the Piggy Wiggy.
For us, it is Piggy Wiggy.
That's the Piggy Wiggy and IGA.
Facts. All facts. So,
But when I moved here, I decided, okay, Mo, you gotta, and y'all please excuse this, all of this congestion and stuff. But I said, okay, Mo, so you gotta go back to ground zero and figure out some things. You got maybe you figure out some of the things that used to work for you, and maybe you figure out some new things that you're gonna have to try because you are in a larger area of boroughs, and it was all on me. So I joined this kickball team. I think I was like maybe 3 weeks in, and somebody I went to high school with was on the kickball team, and she asked me about it. And I was fairly athletic in high school, but at the time I was thicker than a Snicker. So I was like, girl, I don't want to play no kickball, but I did, and I was a beast too. When they saw me coming, they was like, she a power kicker, and I was. But I joined this kickball team, and they are very, very popular around the Atlanta area. You ever heard of Off the Chain Kickball?
I want to say yes.
The name is the owner's name is TJ, but joined a kickball team, and then I started networking. Everywhere I could go, I was making, and my kids was like an assembly line, and they don't let me forget that now because they teenagers. But I made these. I still make them. I made these cupcakes, and then I would take the wrap off, sit it in, like the little 9-inch clear plastic cup that you put your crown in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those kind of cups. I put the cupcake in there, icing it, stuck a spoon in it. Then I dropped it in a plastic bag, a treat bag, put a tag on that. And for some of y'all bakers out there, I done gave y'all some free game.
I was about to say, even I was like, I don't cook, but it sounds like something I might be able to use.
It's really cute. And you can, because I use it now as a realtor. I use it as a business card. Huh. So instead of the cupcake being on the forefront, my business card is how I'm trying to get your attention. However, it comes with the treat. So nice. We was making like 300 of those every.
Good Lord.
Every few days, but normally I would start on a Wednesday and start passing them out. And that would go through the weekend, and even at the kickball games, I'm passing out these cupcakes. And people was like, how much? It's free. Because people remember free.
This is very true. They remember
food, and they remember free. And you put those two together, and it's good. Man.
This is true, very true.
Anyway, I connected with, through kickball, somebody who knew somebody, a girl who used to sing on an R&B group. And she asked me to make a cake for her friend, Mila, from 702.
Wait, who was this friend of a friend that used to sing in an R&B group? Now I'm curious. Who's this person?
Tyvee from Black Girl.
I was just listening to I'm a 90s Girl the other day. I
Yep,
actually like Black Girl.
that's the
And I
song.
was, we have to talk about that later if y'all still
Okay,
friends. Because I was wondering whatever happened to those girls. Like, I'm a
okay.
90s Girl. Yeah, I know that. I'm 43. So
Yep, you
I
telling
know.
your age.
You know, I'm not sure. I'm 43. Nice, nice, nice.
So I connected with Tyvee, who asked me to do a cake for Mila, and it was the launch of her lipstick line, and I did that, and after that, um, I was asked to do some catering for Young Scooter, who was having a album release party, and after that, the person uh, that really was my connect and the person who kind of uh, what do we call it? This is what he said. Bankroll. This
Mm.
next event was a restaurant that I did, and for a short period of time, I had a restaurant called In the Cut, and that was off of McDaniel Street, and the In the Cut and the understanding and the partnership ended up not uh, happening as said in the beginning, and so
Welcome to Atlanta.
yeah, so I
Welcome to
pulled out
Atlanta.
of that, to say the least. But y'all can get them details in my book. You can go on Amazon.com and get my cookbook because I did put the specifics in the cookbook. But I pulled out of that relationship, and I thought, man, like this is this. I thought we was on the way up. You know what I'm saying?
So, yeah, welcome to
But
Atlanta.
things didn't happen like we planned, and so once I pulled out, thinking this is the end of the world. I came to Atlanta to do XYZ, and I thought this was how it was going to be, and then it didn't end up like that. So about 2 months, I sobbed and sobbed and sobbed. Then I got a phone call from Food Network,
Oh,
and Food Network invited me on to compete on Cake Wars, and this was in 2016. And then my the air date in 2016 was August 9th. That's when I debuted on Cake Wars, and then December in 2016 was when I got my diagnosis. So the first thing the doctors tell you when you get this diagnosis is don't read too much into the images that you'll see
well, let me ask you
online.
this before we go there. So, were there symptoms that made you go, or you just went for a checkup and found out?
There were symptoms. Great question. I was waking up for a while prior to 2016. I was waking up in the morning and my hands were numb and tingling, and couldn't really explain to the doctor other than my hands are numb when I wake up, and they're kind of tingling, and um, we need to see what's up because my father had MS and he died from complications of MS. So in my mind, I'm thinking my nerves, something is going on with my nerves, or, so thinking the worst and not wanting that to happen to me blindsided. That's when I started telling the doctor, we need to check this out. So, but by the time I was diagnosed at the end of 2016, uh, they first told me carpal tunnel, and then they said it was rheumatoid arthritis, and then finally the last diagnosis was uh, scleroderma. And with having scleroderma, one of the first things that came up was that I do have rheumatoid arthritis, but it's like times 10.
I was about to say, compared to what they just told you, I'm like, that's almost a drop in the
Right,
bucket.
right. It's times 10 because you got people exercising, going to work,
Yeah,
doing
like
whatever they want to do with arthritis.
arthritis is the butt of a bunch of jokes as you get older. So it's
Yeah,
something that
but
we kind of
scleroderma
know.
was way different. Because like I said, it's times 10. So my first 3 years, I was cool. I was still experiencing the swelling of my fingers and sometimes my feet, but uh, also my hands were still stiffening, but I hadn't experienced the curl fingers yet at that time. Uh, but what began to happen in late 2018 to 2019 was that I started experiencing the curled fingers, the curled arms, my excuse me, my my posture began to slump a little because the skin across my abdomen and my pelvic area is really, really tight. Um,
Is there a cause for this? Like just seems like really. Well, let me ask you a question in between that. Because I know there are things out there not like this, but something endometriosis is something that people they don't typically catch because it looks like something else. Was that kind of the case with yours? Did they have to continue to do tests and you have to say something like this is more than just this?
they did. They did. Good question.
I told you we go off the cuff.
Because it can mimic lupus,
Hmm.
fibromyalgia, a lot of those diseases that does cause joint stiffness and muscle pain, muscle weakness, but none of those diseases mimic the skin tightening.
So did you have to stay on them? Because we talk about healthcare on on the other show all the time, and what we find with us is most of the time they don't go fishing. This is what it is, and this you just need to be
Right.
happy with this because that's what it is. And we have to be insistent to be like, no,
You have
this
to.
is more than was that the
Yeah.
case for you?
You have to be that kind of patient that does your research, that asks questions, that will push the needle on that. Hold on, don't come in here for 12.5 minutes and be rushing out of here because I'm not finished. I got more questions. And I've had to call the doctor back in the room. I wasn't finished, so they will rush out the room and quickly tell you one thing or another because it takes nothing for them to write those prescriptions and go to the next patient. I ain't that kind of patient. Because I ain't got but one life that I'm in control of, so you're going to have to give me a little bit more time than that.
So once they got to the diagnosis, did they set an expectation, like you were saying, the curl fingers? Did they tell you that stuff was coming, or you just did the research and?
No, they didn't tell me it was coming, and basically, they don't tell you that is going to happen. They just tell you that, it's an array of things. It's a whole lot of symptoms that can or may not necessarily happen to everybody. So there are some people that that is diagnosed with scleroderma based on blood work, and they live their life to the fullest every day and don't have many situations. But there are some people that's walking around with an oxygen tank and facing lung failure, renal failure, heart failure, because the tissues, the tissues around your organs can thicken and begin to press upon your organs,
Really?
causing them not to function as they should.
Is that due to the kind of, because when I think about this, I'm thinking like it's somebody pulling down a curtain and they keep pulling it till it gets really, really tight and you can't do much of anything. Is that kind of what this feels like or kind of looks like?
It feels like you ever put maybe have you ever seen a baby in a onesie that mama is just not letting go of, and it's the kind with the feet in, and the onesie is so tight, like their legs don't straighten up, or something like that. That's what I feel like in this body, that my skin is so tight. You see, this is my fist. I know y'all can't see that out there until you see the recording, but that's the most I can, make a fist. So as you can imagine, it is very difficult to do things like open a bottle of water, comb my hair, open a door, unlock a door, button a shirt, tie your shoe. It's very life is tough. So when you see me walking around or you see me on my social media and I'm fresh to death like I am right now.
Now, if you follow her social media, she's that chick. I will definitely say that she's definitely that chick.
It's a production for me to be able to, and to be honest, certain things that I know I want to put on for the day, I have to make sure somebody is home to help me get dressed or even get home and get undressed. I have to make sure that I have some type of assistance. But even that took a process to get to because I've always been so independent, and my feelings was hurt, my self-esteem was shot, my confidence was low, all of that because I went from Mo can do anything. Mo can, even if you go back to playing kickball. I'm 252 pounds, and I'm a beast on the team because I'm so confident in everything that I do and so competitive. Um, even with that, just being a plus size woman didn't stop me. I thought my confidence was through the roof. I thought I was the most, as Keith Murray said, the most beautiful thing in the world.
Now who telling the age?
I thought.
Now who telling the age?
I thought that was me, and then this disease. And so, as I do my research and as I, stumble upon these photos of what someone with scleroderma looks like, I am terrified.
I can only imagine.
I am terrified, and I'm like, oh man, I don't want to look like that. And around the times, and no offense to my scleroderma warriors, but this is a scary look if you don't see it coming. And daily I'm waking up like, my face is so tight. Like I do facial exercises, and the doctor didn't tell me that, but I'm like, if I continue to work my skin, and let's say my hands, for example, I have seen progress in my hands for when they first started curling. I can do certain things that I couldn't do before. I couldn't do my makeup when my hands were at its worst because my grip was so minimal. I couldn't hold something like a brush or a pencil or anything. So just working on it continuously, that's why I began to do my face too, like facial exercises in the morning, because the skin around my mouth began to get tight. So it affects my speech and my words and even my teeth.
All right. We're going to do something I don't normally do. We're going to do a part 2. We're going to have to do a part 2 on this one. So we're going to put a pin in it.
Okay.
And we're going to do a part 2 with Chef Mo. So I'll see you guys same time, same place next time on the Blend Blazers podcast with your host, Ricardo D. Rice. Get into good stuff, but I got somebody else I got to do at 3 o'clock.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So I'm going to get you rescheduled.
Okay.
So we can finish this because